There is a new setting called Vibrance that lives in the Adjustments panel that allows you to adjust the saturation in your image before the colors clip to all-out nonsense. In other words, if you are used to using saturation, you know that you can really overdo it so that your colors are extremely bright or extremely dark. If you desaturate an image, you literally take all the color out of it. So let's go ahead and play around with these sliders so I can just show you how they work. First of all, I'll use the saturation slider. If I go all the way to the left, I have a black and white image now because I've taken all the color information and just soaked it up with a sponge. Likewise, I can go to the other side of the slider and blow out the colors to the point where the image looks like pop art. So everything's very bright, everything is pretty unrealistic, but it still looks kind of cool. You would never be able to, of course, use this for anything else than maybe artwork that you put in a frame so that you can deliberately, put this as artwork instead of something that you've color corrected. So once again, this is something that you wouldn't necessarily use unless this was the effect you were going for. I can also adjust the slider value by typing a number inside of this text field. So I'll go ahead and put 0 to put it back to where it was. Then I can hit enter or return to accept that. Vibrance, unlike the saturation slider, will try its best to maintain any skin tones, and it will try its best to not blow the image out like the saturation slider does. So I'm going to go all the way to the left this time with the Vibrance slider. Notice that we still have some color information. Look at the pot right here. We can still see the tan color. We can see a hint of that yellow on the wall, and we can see a hint of the green because it has prevented the saturation from going too far. Once again, I'll put a 0 in this field, and I'll show you the same effect again with saturation. There's no tan, there's no yellow, and no green. This time I'll go all the way to the right with Vibrance, and the image does get quite saturated, but nowhere near to the extent of this slider down here. So it kind of knows when is enough, and it kind of stops before it gets there. Now I would probably never go to 100% with Vibrance. I just want to add a little bit more life to the image. So I think something around 30-ish looks pretty good. And before, here is the image at 0 or close to 0, and here it is with just a hint of Vibrance. As always, you'll notice that it has a layer that's on top of your image that you can always turn off and delete if you're not happy with the adjustment. So Vibrance is a really good alternative to using saturation because it knows exactly how far to go before changing your image dramatically as far as taking away the color or adding too much.